The Bhagavad Gita was mentioned in Henry David Thoreau's book. This is a book that Robert Oppenheimer, the man who led the team at Los Alamos in creating the atomic bomb, is actually the person who introduced me to this book when I read his biography. And it's the book that is said that Gandhi used to carry with him. And so it's very short. It wasn't that long. It wasn't hard to read. If you look at it, it's in like poetic form. Not till the very end does it kind of become, these people who do these things are demonic, and to do this, to believe in me, to talks about dharma and the yoga and the sattva. Sattva is positive. Can't remember the negative ones because they're not that important since they're considered to be the negative. So this book talks a lot about to stop worrying, stop clinging to things, stop that the action of selfishness. Like us as humans, we have no choice but to act, get up and live and fulfill our hunger, work, etc. But to not focus on the acts that are self-centered, the acts of me, I. Once you release the self from clinging to things, once you are unbothered by pain and pleasure, peace and chaos, once these things don't bother you and you just kind of dwell in between. Kind of my buddy John, he was speaking about the yin and yang, how it's a ball. And as we were speaking about it, he kind of like, with his hands, he formed like if he was holding the yin and yang center to his abdomen underneath his chest. And I'd never seen the yin and yang in that perspective before, but it made sense. Like if the yin and yang was an actual object, kind of like the Pokeball, we would hold it that way, If it had so much power, you would hold it with your life, And so it's a balance to life. That's what this book is telling you to. And it's good. Some of it's hard to understand. Some of it's not really even made to be understood. I have a selfish mind, so to read a lot of it, I feel like this is broken up in like 16 discourses. I don't want to tell you everything, but there's this young man. He is part of the army, and his village is going to war with the neighboring village, but the neighboring village, he realizes, is like his uncles and his cousins, and he's having trouble accepting that he's about to have to go kill and fight against his own family. And his charioteer, which is a guy who like drives his horses in his carriage, ends up being like God and telling him, like, not encouraging him. Now that I say it out loud, it's kind of awkward, right? And it's kind of, but Gandhi, when he was, when India was being occupied by the British, he wasn't a violent guy, So what were the Eastern philosophy, the people who, believe in Hinduism, and the people in India, and that book has traveled so far from then, but these aren't violent people. So what they're taking from this book is that release of the self, living in yoga, not yoga as just pure meditation, but yoga as a way of life. And they speak about the O-M. Om is, that's the power of Om. This is said to be like the peaceful sound, the sound of all sounds, you know, the first sound, and my own interpretation. So yeah, Bhagavad Gita.